The rally was a firefight. Osaka's power against Eala's artistry. The crowd roared with every shot. But in the split-second stillness between one explosive forehand and the next, something happened. It wasn't a gesture or a word. It was a look, a flicker of expression so fast, so subtle, that the broadcast cameras missed it entirely. But the ultra-high-speed photo finish camera, snapping 1,000 frames a second, caught it. And what it captured in that invisible moment didn't just reveal a secret. It foretold the end of the match. The match was the fourth round of the 2030 U.S. Open, a clash of tennis royalty in its most dynamic forms. Naomi Osaka, now 32, was the sport's enduring empress of power. Her game, refined by time and motherhood, was a terrifying blend of controlled aggression and serene mental fortitude. Her return to the top echelons of the sport was a story of pure will. Across the net stood Eala, 24, the Filipina superstar who had ascended to world number 2. Her game was the antithesis of brute force, a mesmerizing tapestry of spins, slices, drop shots, and fearless net play, all woven together with a preternatural tennis IQ. She was the sport's most brilliant problem solver. Their styles promised a spectacular contrast, the unstoppable cannon versus the unmovable, ever-shifting maze. Arthur Ashe Stadium was packed, the night air crackling with anticipation for a match that promised to be a cerebral and physical masterpiece. The first set unfolded like a high-stakes chess match played at warp speed. Osaka came out firing, her serves landing with concussive force, her ground strokes seeking to end points before Eala's variety could take root. But Eala, as she always did, had a plan. She stood exceptionally deep to return serve, giving herself extra time to absorb Osaka's pace. She used low, skidding slices to rob Osaka of rhythm and heavy topspin, moonballs to push her back when she tried to attack. The rallies were shorter than expected, a series of sharp, violent engagements. Osaka took the first set 6-4, breaking Eala's serve once with a barrage of forehand winners. It was power asserting its initial dominance. But Eala was not rattled. She walked to her chair with the calm focus of a scientist whose first hypothesis had been disproven, already formulating the next experiment. The second set was where Eala's genius began to shine. She adjusted her return position, stepping inches inside the baseline on Osaka's second serve, taking time away and attacking with flatter, more aggressive returns. She began using the drop shot not as a surprise, but as a systematic weapon, dragging the powerful but less agile Osaka forward and exposing the open court. The match transformed into a breathtaking display of tactical innovation versus raw power. Eala broke serve and held to take the set 6-3. The match was level. The crowd was in a frenzy, witnessing a clash of philosophies where each was proving the other's equal. The third set began with both women holding serve with difficulty, each game a mini-drama of adjusted tactics and incredible shot-making. The tension was a living thing, coiling tighter with each point. And then, at 2-2 on Osaka's serve, the invisible moment occurred. The point was another epic. A 24-shot rally that saw Osaka blast forehands that would have passed through a concrete wall, only for Eala to somehow deflect them back with slices and lobs. On the 25th shot, Osaka carved out a half chance. She hit a deep, penetrating approach shot to Eala's backhand and charged the net. It was a bold, aggressive move. Eala, on the dead run, could only float a defensive lob. It was high, but short. Osaka settled underneath it just inside the service line for a routine overhead smash to end the point. She wound up. The crowd rose. Eala, stranded at the baseline, could only watch. This was the moment. The moment the high-speed camera, positioned unobtrusively behind the baseline, was built for. As Osaka's eyes tracked the ball descending, her game faced the mask of fierce concentration flickered. For one single frame, 1/40,000th of a second, it vanished. What replaced it was not doubt or anger, but something far more telling, a micro-expression of profound, weary recognition. Her eyes, just for that instant, were not on the ball. They were on Eala, and in them was a flash of pure, unadulterated respect, the look of a warrior who realizes she is not facing a foe to be overpowered, but a puzzle that may, for the first time in years, be unsolvable. Then her game face snapped back. She smashed the ball for a winner. The crowd roared. The point was hers, but the invisible moment had been captured. The camera had stolen the truth Osaka had hidden from the world, from Eala, and perhaps even from herself. She had just seen the ghost of her own sporting mortality in the brilliant, relentless play of her younger rival. The point won, Osaka walked back to the baseline, her face once more the impenetrable mask of the champion. But internally, the seed planted by that invisible moment had taken root. The micro-expression of weary respect was a crack in her psychological armor. And such cracks, once formed, have a way of spreading under pressure. She held serve to go up 3-2, but the effort felt different. Each shot now required a conscious override of a new, unsettling data point. She has an answer for everything. The match continued its brutal pace, but a subtle shift in sovereignty was occurring. Eala, sensing no fear, but perhaps a new strain of effort from Osaka, grew bolder. She began mixing in Servan Valley plays on big points, shocking Osaka with her audacity. At 4-4 on Osaka's serve, the match reached its tipping point. At 32-30, after another draining rally, Eala executed a perfect sliding drop shot. Osaka, her legs heavy from 2 hours of chasing, lumbered forward. She got to the ball but could only shovel a weak reply. Eala was waiting at the net and put away a simple volley. Break point? On the next point, Osaka went for a huge first serve down the tee. It missed. Her second serve, a kicker to Eala's forehand, was attacked. Eala ripped a cross-court return winner. She had broken. 5-4, she would serve for the match. The sequence was a direct consequence of the invisible moment. The weary recognition had translated into a half-step of hesitation, a micron of doubt that turned a retrievable drop shot into a winner and made a second serve feel vulnerable, as Eala prepared to serve for the match. The stadium was a wall of sound, but for Naomi Osaka, standing at the baseline to receive, the world had narrowed to a tunnel. The roar was white noise. The only thing that existed was the opponent across the net and the echoing truth of that stolen frame. The look of respect that was also a look of concession. Eala held at love, sealing a 4-6, 6-3, 6-4 victory. The final point was an unreturnable serve. Osaka did not move. She stood for a second, then walked to the net. The handshake was firm, Osaka's expression one of dignified exhaustion. Amazing. She said to Eala, the word carrying the weight of the entire match and the unseen moment that had defined it. Eala, in her moment of triumph, simply nodded, her own respect palpable. The invisible moment had decided the match not by changing a shot, but by changing the champion's fundamental understanding of the challenge. She hadn't been outpowered. She had been outthought and outendured by a version of the future she could recognize but could no longer quite touch. The real drama, however, was just beginning. The high-speed photograph was not for broadcast. It was captured by a proprietary AI-driven imaging system used for biomechanical analysis by a major sports institute. The system's operators, reviewing the data later that night, stumbled upon the single frame, struck by its raw emotional power. They, against protocol, anonymously sent it to a legendary sports photographer known for his artistic eye. He, understanding its historical significance, reached out to both players' camps for permission to publish it. After days of quiet negotiation, permission was granted. A week after the U.S. Open had concluded, the photographer released the image on his website with a simple title, The Glimpse. Racket high above her head in the preparatory phase of her smash. Her face turned slightly toward Eala, and in her eyes, crystal clear in the ultra-high resolution, was that fleeting, profound look of weary, ultimate respect. The tennis world, which had moved on to analyzing the next tournament, was stopped dead. The image went globally viral in minutes. The release of The Glimpse photograph detonated a shockwave of analysis and emotion across the sports world. For the public, it was a rare and breathtaking violation of a champion's private competitive space. This wasn't a celebration or a defeat. It was a raw, unguarded slice of a legend's inner life at the most pressurized moment. Commentators and former players dissected it endlessly. Some saw it as a moment of beautiful, humanizing vulnerability. It shows that even the greats have moments where they see the writing on the wall, one analyst said. It's not weakness. It's the highest form of clarity. Others interpreted it as the exact turning point of the match. That's the millisecond she knew, argued a rival pundit. The body can't hide what the mind has accepted. Eala had won the mental battle right there. The photograph became a Rorschach test for how people viewed competition, aging, and the passing of the torch. For the first time, fans weren't debating a call or a shot, but a feeling captured in a single pixel. The reactions from the two women involved were as revealing as the image itself. Eala, when shown the photograph in a press setting weeks later, was visibly moved. She studied it for a long time. "I never saw that," she said quietly. "In the match, you only see the ball, the court, the tactic. To see this, it's very powerful. It makes me appreciate the battle even more. It's an honor to have shared a court with Naomi where moments like this can happen, even if they're invisible to us." Her response was one of deep respect, acknowledging the shared humanity the photo revealed. Naomi Osaka's response came via a thoughtful, lengthy post on her personal platform. She didn't shy away from it. "A friend sent me that photo. My first thought was, wow, they really do catch everything. My second thought was that it's the truth. In that match against Alex, I had the realization that I was playing against the new standard. The game has evolved, and she is the architect." That look wasn't defeat. It was recognition. It was me seeing the future of tennis, and it's breathtaking. It makes me want to work harder to see if the old lion can still roar. She framed the invisible moment not as an end, but as a motivator, a clarifying beacon that redefined her own challenge. The legacy of the invisible moment extended far beyond a single match. It permanently altered the narrative of the Osaka rivalry, fusing it with a layer of profound, almost poetic, mutual respect that transcended results. Their subsequent matches were played with a palpable public admiration. Every handshake was warmer, every press conference filled with genuine praise. The photograph had short-circuited any potential for petty rivalry by exposing the core truth. They were artist and admirer, past and future, locked in a beautiful, temporary overlap. For the sport, it marked a moment of technological and emotional convergence. The ability to capture such a fleeting human truth highlighted the deeper stories happening beyond the scoreboard. It sparked debates about privacy, the use of biometric and emotional data in sports, and the ethics of revealing an athlete's unguarded self. But overwhelmingly, it was celebrated as a masterpiece of sports photography, a frame that told a more complete story than the entire 3-hour broadcast. In the end, what captured was not just a camera. It captured the precise instant where legend met legacy. It captured the unspoken conversation that happens in the silent spaces between shots, where respect is earned not through trophies, but through the sheer, undeniable force of a rival's brilliance. For Naomi Osaka, the image became a treasured artifact of her career's later chapter, a reminder of the clarity that comes only in the deepest fires of competition. For Eala, it was a defining validation, a signal from the sports pantheon that she had arrived not just as a winner, but as a transformative force. And for everyone who saw it, the glimpse was a timeless reminder that the most compelling drama in sports is not always who wins or loses, but what they see in each other in the moments only the silence can witness.